What is up, everybody? How's it going? The 49ers round check. We are back in this damn building. And what is up with Niner Dion? He's in the building. We got my boy 49ers breakdown, and we got the lovely lady Melissa in the building, and we got the Steph Curry impersonator that we call 49ers King. What is up in the building?
Yeah, celeb status. What's up? I'm all good in the hood, man. Nervous for this game tonight, but I'm ready to get the show rock and rolling.
Yeah, let's get it rolling, man. But what stood out to you guys about the mini camp as of lately?
Well, what stood out to me was like I've been hearing like Drake Jackson, our second round pick, been going off, man. I mean, you got Nick Bosa. He said this guy can do things I couldn't even do. You know what I'm saying? And like, because he's talking about that bend, and I love a guy that can bend. Because when I think of bend edge rushers, it reminds me of Von Miller, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, guys like that. Those guys have terrorized quarterbacks, man, in Super Bowls and playoff games. And we got Drake Jackson. If Drake Jackson can play like how Drake, the singer-rapper, can do, oh, man, we're Super Bowl contenders every year. You know? I mean, man. I'm just saying, another piece to our defense to go with Warner, Bosa, Armstead, and I hear Omina, who's been, working on some technique stuff. He's on the rise too, from what I hear. So, a lot of guys, they're going to be on the inside and outside, all of our ends and D tackles. So I'm excited about that.
For sure, man. Like I hear a lot of good things about Drake Jackson. Like in the first beginning of the OTAs or something, he was having a slow start, and then during the last few days, he's kind of been standing out. Like he beat Justin School in the 1-on-1 matchups. Like what stands out is his athleticism, the knee bend, and all that stuff. And a lot of his teammates are praising about him. Samson Ebukam was talking good things about him, and it's kind of intriguing that this guy can be a viable piece when it comes down to the rotation, but could potentially be our starter next year. So that's how I look at it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I completely agree with that, man. You never know. You know what I'm saying? I kid you not. As I've stated before, I wasn't happy with the pick at first because I'm tired of seeing defensive linemen go with our first pick every year. That is like the most annoying thing in the world to me. But, I did my film study on him, and yeah, he's got some dip and some bend. Basically, his comp, oddly enough, is D Ford. The only reason I don't like that comp is because I want him to stay healthy. That's the reason why I don't like the comp. But I definitely do feel like he's great. He's been doing some good things in camp. And if you saw Samson Ebukam, man, I don't think that man got a shred of body fat on him on his body in general. He just looked like he was built like a brick, man. Like he was somebody just chiseled him and molded him in their likeness or whatever, man. But the thing that I like from training from OTAs is Trey Lance. All this arm fitness crap that was made up and all this other, all of the negativity, he shut all that down with great days, great OTAs. And he's doing this without starters, people. That's the problem. He's doing this without the starting offensive line, without the starting wide receivers, and without the starting running backs. So OTAs was filled with a bunch of people trying to make the squad. And he's out there murdering pretty much almost the starting defense. So that tells you that the young man is making something out of nothing, and he's well worth every penny. And I just can't wait until he proves all the doubters wrong.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. 49ers Breakdown actually had a good breakdown on Trey Lance the other day. And, dude, I kind of start to see a little bit of what you're saying about Donovan McNabb and Trey Lance's game a little bit.
Yeah, I think that people kind of tend to look at the old Donovan McNabb and they forget about the young Donovan McNabb, who was kind of the original Russell Wilson. In Donovan McNabb's first year, he only played 6 games and he was 2-4. But his first year as a starter, where he had the entire season, he won a lot of games. I think they went 11-5, and he was Offensive Player of the Year of the league. And he put up, I think, 600 rushing yards total. He averaged about 5 attempts per game. When I look at what Donovan did as opposed to RG3, I think it bodes well for the Niners. But I agree with both assessments. Drake Jackson, Trey Lance, I think they're both, we should be encouraged. I point out, that Trey is actually younger than Pickett, who was the first quarterback taken. He's a year younger than the first quarterback taken in this year's draft. And he's got a year under his belt where he was able to learn and get experience. So for me, I think the most encouraging thing from OTAs is the depth. When you look across the board and you see so much depth, we're talking about Omenihu, and Omenihu, I mean, he might have a hard time making the team. I mean, it's like, yeah, he's a very good player. He has very good potential. He's a good player. So I'm excited about the depth that we see in the young guys, even the undrafted free agents that are kind of, like Quantrez Knight, the depth at receiver with some of the free agents, like, Malik Turner, and then a lot of the vets hadn't been around, but some people were talking down on Drake Jackson a little bit because that Sam Schluster was holding his own against him. But I think that what that might show is that Schluster might even be a guy that can potentially contribute in the future. So a lot of depth, and just excited about the overall squad.
Yeah, for sure. Melissa, what do you think about this for Niners OTAs?
I liked that it kind of answers some of the questions we have for our offensive line. Like, I thought we had one offensive lineman that we all can trust, and I had no idea what we're going to get in the other 4 spots. I don't think McGlinchey's going to play at the beginning of the year. I think he's going to get the job back. But I think his injury is not going to be ready enough for being the big run blocker that he's been. So to hear great things about Jason Poe and now Brendel and all these other guys, that's kind of encouraging.
Yeah. Speaking of offensive linemen, it's like you look at our depth pieces. You guys were talking, like, I guess a few of you guys were thinking a little concerned about the depth piece, right? Like, okay, when we look at the backups, all right, like I know there's some unproven guys going into this lineup. Aaron Banks, he's kind of stood out, and people were questioning him about this draft pick, but he's gotten in better shape, and he's looked a lot leaner, a lot quicker. So it's kind of giving me a sign that they just had some investment in this guy. So this coming year, which they had him just learn for next year. And then this year, he's definitely going to be the starter, and they really like this kid. And hopefully he pays off, because we could have got somebody like Asante Samuel Jr. to solidify the secondary, but we didn't do that. We traded back with the Raiders, and we waited for this guy. I just hope he pans out. But looking at the offensive lineman, Jake Brendel, I'm hoping he turns out to be pretty good, because when you look at the guy's experience, he's been around the league. He's been in and out of different teams. He's got very limited starting experience, and that could be an unknown factor. But if he can be good, I'm all in for this kid. Then you got another guy, like the other guard spot, Daniel Brunskill. I think they were going to push him at center, but I don't know yet. So he can play anywhere in the spots. Then you got guys like Spencer Buford, who can be the best versatile player on the team, who can play the guard and the tackle spot. Jason Poe, everybody talks about how this guy's the most athletic lineman, and he can move for a guy his size, and he can catch the ball too. So that's kind of intriguing. Then you look at guys like, Then you got a guy like Donovan West. I don't even know if he's guaranteed a roster spot, but if he makes that push over Jake Brendel, that's anybody's guess. And then you look at Nick Zaggio. I don't know what his role is, but he can play anywhere.
Definitely.
Yeah, when you talk about
making the roster over Jake Brendel.
Oh, you do? Like, can you explain to me how you would see that?
I'm just putting that out there. I don't see. Because Brendel has been there with Trey Lance. When you think about it, he's been there with him last year and this year. What center has more rapport with him than Jake Brendel? it makes more sense. Like, this is the old adage: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You have no business putting in Daniel Brunskill at center, or even Donovan West at center. Why? When Jake Brendel already had one of the things that people underestimate is the center to quarterback exchange. That is very vital, whether you're coming from shotgun or whether you're going from under center. It's very vital. And if those two have built a rapport and Brendel's able to call out the protections and everything correctly, don't screw that up. Don't have a Kyle moment and be like, oh, I think Daniel's better. He's going to be our center. And have Daniel Brunskill and Trey Lance been working together all offseason last year? No. So why on God's green? And Daniel Brunskill wasn't that damn great as a center when he had to fill in for Weston Richburg. So I have no reason to believe that he would be the starting center. And then Donovan West, he turned out to be a UDFA. It's not to say that the guy can't play, but if anything, you spell backup to me. So I want Brendel to be the starter. I'd rather him stick with it. I like the connection that him and Lance have, and I have no aspirations to see Daniel Brunskill screwing up at center and or possibly us winding. Now, if West just for some ungodly reason outshines Brendel, I get it, but I don't see that happen.
Right. Yeah, you gotta have excellent quarterback center. Duo. You gotta have good chemistry and stuff because. The center is like the quarterback of the offensive line, you got to be in jail with him. Like Tom Brady had Tom Nalen. Peyton Manning had Jeff Saturday, Jeremy Newberry, and Jeff Garcia. They had a good rapport. So, you got to have that guy, man. Instruct the offensive line. And then, especially because, when we face the Rams, they got some dude named Aaron Donald was pretty damn great. I don't like him, but, he's the best out there. And we got to know where he's at. We got to know how to block him. We got to have the center direct the guard. And hey, we got to block him like this and that and that. So it's real important, even more because of that. So,
yeah. I was going to say, I think O-line is the biggest question mark. And I think that depth on the O-line is good. I think we have a lot of good depth. The issue is that we don't have a lot of chemistry, a lot of continuity. And I've never been down on Aaron Banks. It takes a lot of guys a year or two as offensive linemen to mature. Even Laken Tomlinson, remember, we got him in a trade because he didn't mature quick enough for Detroit's liking. So for linemen, it takes some time sometimes. So I'm cool with Aaron Banks. The issue is that when you get into live bullets and defenses are not showing you what they showed you on scout all week, and they're giving you a bunch of exotic looks, and you got NFL star caliber dogs coming at you, the continuity, the chemistry, the experience plays a big role. And so when somebody like Jake Brendel, it's his job to lose, in my opinion, but that lack of experience is tough. Brunskill's an overachiever. I like Brunskill, but he's an overachiever to begin with. I think Aaron Banks has a bright future if he can stay healthy, but he's got a learning curve. And then, Melissa pointed out with McGlinchey, who knows if he's even available to start. So then maybe that puts School in, and School's coming off an injury. Now, I like Burford. I like Zakel. I like Jalen Moore. But the reality of the situation is that while we do have good depth, a lot of inexperience. And luckily we have a mobile quarterback. But to me, that group gelling and playing good together and being able to handle all the exotic fronts that they're going to see in different blitz packages, man, that's gonna take a little bit of time. So hopefully Kyle can protect that offensive line with a strong run game and play action.
Yeah, when you look at that, when you look at the offensive lineman, it's always all about communication and the gel. It's just a lot of inexperience. As a guy playing a position, it takes a lot of communication for the offensive lineman to be on the same page, especially playing center. Playing center is the most important position for the quarterback because you got to hike it pretty good. You got to have a good communication on where they want the ball at too, because sometimes those center exchange, it can be a disaster. So this is where I would agree with Dion's take on this, because it takes a lot of communication, because Jake Brendel has been there with Trey and he's helped them along the way, and it makes an easy transition, even though the experience may factor, but he's been around the league. He just needs to get an opportunity. That's all it is.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
I mean, experience does play a factor, but sometimes you got to get an opportunity. You got to get a chance.
Yeah, I think they asked about experience, and hopefully, even last year's line, it took a little bit of time to gel. With Mac being the new center, and him making the calls, and I think that they do have a good chance at gelling during training camp if guys are healthy. I mean, even Brunskill didn't participate in this offseason thus far because of injuries. So while we do have a lot of potential, a lot of talent, the inexperience can play into it. So luckily, we have a mobile quarterback. I'm not down on the offensive line. I just think it's a legitimate question how quickly they can gel and play with continuity and chemistry. Because again, some of these games earlier on the road, and now you got communication issues because you got that 12th man crowd. You got teams bringing exotics. A lot of teams run exotics against Kyle because of that outside zone. So, I mean, you get looks that, it simplifies the run game, but then they stunt, they stem, they move, and, there's a lot that goes into it. So, it'll be fun to watch. I'm just grateful we have a guy like Trey back there that can move around a little bit.
That's the most intriguing position battle is the offensive lineman, because we want to see who can start in. And
yeah, hey, because how about if one of these offensive linemen happens to be like an Alex Boone? Alex Boone was undrafted and he started on a damn great offensive line, like with Mike Upati, Anthony Davis, Joe Staley, Jonathan Goodwin. Ooh, I'm telling you, hey, one of these guys can be like that, man, like a giant. And Alex Boone was so tough, man. Like we missed that enforcer like that, man. He was mammoth. He was like 6'8", 300 pounds, but he had a pretty good bend for like a big dude like that. So. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a tough, a real good battle in that trenches. But that's what we want, because games are won in the trenches.
Yes, sir.
Without a doubt. So when we look at the other position that's intriguing is the wide receiver group. I feel like it's the most improved group so far. Do you guys agree with it, or you guys feel like there's? Oh, okay. I want to hear what Melissa's got to say about this.
I think by far corner is the most improved position group that we have right now.
Cornerback.
Because we're not recycling people off the street every 2 weeks because we have no corners.
I might have to agree on that now. Now you look at it that way. You guys were debating about the cornerback position. I feel like it's a lot better than last year. I think it's far better because you look at the depth pieces. We got Jason Verrett back on a cheaper deal, and he might even be the capable backup or a guy that steps in at nickel. So it's like, dude, we got a lot of valuable assets in the secondary this year.
That much is true. I mean, when you look at it, you got to agree with her, because who is Taysir Mack? I don't really know who he is. When I did a video on all the wide receivers, I can tell you right now, there's only 1,000-yard receiver that came out of college. One.
Oklahoma State guy, the one that
exactly.
He's good.
Tate Martin. That was
Tate Martin's raw. He's raw.
Everybody else is a nobody.
Yeah, they are.
They don't have any experience. A lot of these dudes barely have even played in the league. So if you look at our wide receiver depth chart, Debo, Ayuk, Jennings, all three locks, right? We expect all three of those dudes definitely make the squad.
And then Ray too.
Say again.
Then Ray's definitely locked because he can play he can play the return spot, but he's got experience too.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there and I'm looking and I'm going Ray and Danny Gray. We still have 6 other receivers that need to find a way to make a name for themselves just to make this roster. Because I guarantee, I'm 100% sure we go into the season with at least 6 at a minimum. Possibly 7 if someone just stands out and sticks out like a sore thumb that you just can't get away from. But I have to agree with Melissa, though, because we were literally shopping at the 99-cent store, the Dollar Tree, the trash can out back. We went on Craigslist. We did everything. And
Dollar Tree, yeah.
Yeah, we're still looking for Eno Benjamin's soul. We're still looking for Drake or Patrick Soul after Eno Benjamin snatched it from him. With that truck, that hit that he gave me, it just was unfair. But as the French say la vie, such is life. But yeah, I'd have to say, probably the most improved position would be DBs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we look at that, I think those are the locks easily because you got Danny Gray, who's a 3rd-round pick. He's going to have to make the team either way, and he'll contribute as a deep receiver with the deep speed and put the top on the defense. Raven McLeod, I think he's more of a gadget player. Jennings, I think he's proven to be the number 3 guy. But I don't know about this open competition, but it might make the best out of him. Ayuk and Debo for sure. But when you look at the rest of the receivers, you got Malik Turner, Marcus Johnson. I don't even know if they'll even make the roster. I'm going to go on a limb and say this. Maybe this kid, Tay Martin, might make the roster. Don't be surprised. Tay Martin from Oklahoma State came a long ways. He's got that 6'3" frame. This guy was a 1,000-yard receiver. He made some clutch plays. You guys might be surprised for this guy because remember, we've always tend to find these undrafted players out of nowhere. So this might be the sleeper or the running back too that we just got from Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Quick question though, isn't Danny Gray the player that got injured? That's kind of why they cut practice early.
He's got a hamstring.
Tweak hamstring
injury. It's not uncommon when you fast like that. You get those a lot because you're moving at such a high speed that sometimes even when you just plant the wrong way. It happens to the best of people. One thing I did want to point out, one thing I did see that made me smile, and I saw this on Twitter. So Tyreek Hill puts up a clip of Raheem Mostert and his next gen stats time for being the fastest man in the NFL ever, and goes, "You faster than me, bro?" Yes, Tyreek. Let me get a little closer to the camera. Yes, Tyreek, you're slower than him, and you're slower than Matt Breida. So you are
absolutely.
You need to get yourself
2 former Niners
together. I'm telling you right now, 23.09 miles per hour is the fastest time clocked in the NFL. They put the chip in the shoulder pad. Raheem Mostert has perfect form. Your form is trash. You need to go back to your track coach and work on it. I know I ran track. If Tyreek Hill's form was as good as Raheem's, he would be faster than him because Tyreek Hill has what we like to call in track natural speed. You don't. There's no teaching that. You're born with it. He didn't come out of his mother. He ran out. That's how fast that dude is. But the issue is, when you have natural speed with crap form, you're still slower than guys with better form because they'll eat you up. I've seen it. I've lost to it before. And I've beat guys before because their form was trash, but they had better. I've told them, like, your form is trash. You have better natural speed. You should have beaten me. But that's the thing that I saw that made me happy because he finally realized you're not the fastest man in the NFL. No matter
he hasn't been for years, though.
How you feeling? You haven't been for years. Matt Breida posted the fastest time years ago, and Raheem did it before he got injured. So
that's facts.
Realizing is, though you want to be Mr. Cheetah, you're not the cheetah. You're more like a puma, or at this point, you gotta step your game up.
Hey, the reason why it seems like he's been like the fastest guy is because he's obviously the best player that happens to be fast, because Raheem Mostert and the Matt Breidas and they're good players, but they're not like Pro Bowl players. So that's why it seems like Tyreek Hill is so much faster, which he's not, It's because Raheem Mostert, man, that NFC title game against Green Bay, goodness gracious, that boy, I never seen nothing that fast in my life watching football. Like at least 49 player wise.
His first step is so disgusting.
Yeah,
it's not fair. Once he plants and he finds that crease, he's gone. There is no catching him. If I'm the defensive back, I'm gonna make it look like I'm running hard after him, but I am not because I have no chance of catching him. I have no business chasing him down. The only way I'm chasing him down is if I'm at an angle and I'm coming across the field and I actually have him beat by a few yards. And even then, I'm still scared because he might just take it in another gear and still blow past me.
That's still the best part about the championship game. The Packers on the sideline saying, "Is he still running?"
They're retired. This guy, once he has that step and healthy, he's just hard to stop. But hey, I like to give a huge shout out to my boy Pale Time, who was a co-host of the NFC West Network. This is my guy that I recruited to the network. This guy's been nothing but great
Hi.
with me. And despite him being a Rams fan, I gotta give my salute to my guy. And we got my guy, John Jay, in the building, man. What is up with this guy?
Okay, what's happening, brother?
Yeah, what's up with everybody? But speaking of what you guys are saying, the speed, right? Like Mostert, I think he's proven because he did track at Purdue. He was a track star at Purdue in high school, and he was just very fast. But I just felt the difference. No disrespect to Elijah Mitchell, I just felt like a healthy Mostert was just a difference maker out of nowhere.
It's because he's a home run hitter. You don't get that very often. Like Ty Davis Price, not a home run hitter. He's a bruiser. Now, I'll tell you right now, if you get Ty Davis Price inside about 40, maybe 30 yards, home run hitter. You know why? Because he's too big and he hits hard. He'll hit you before you hit him. And he has like that kind of speed. Like I remember years ago, Ray Rice saying, I have 60-yard speed, meaning 60 yards, I'm at top speed. After that 60, I'm gassed. So you're probably going to catch me. And some people are honest with admitting that. But I think if we're talking about speed and we look on our team, the fastest dudes right now currently on the squad are Ray McLeod and Danny Gray. Because all you heard off season breakdown, correct me if I'm wrong, was Danny Gray was blown by everybody.
Yeah, Danny Gray's got that 4.3 speed, and then Ray McLeod, it doesn't seem like he doesn't even run a 4.5. Maybe he just might have had one of his worst performances, but when you watch this guy play, he plays a lot faster than everybody gives him credit.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that it took Mostert a little bit of time in the NFL, and early in the season last year, if you look at Elijah Mitchell early in the year to late in the year, he was explosive for a rookie, and I believe he does have that home run capability. It's just a matter of him staying fresh and healthy. I think with the depth at running back, we could potentially accommodate that more this year. But, I can think of that 30, 35, 40-yard run he had against Detroit. When Mostert got hurt, it was like, whoa, this kid's balling. And, he had I'm actually going to break down Elijah tonight. But, Mostert reminded me, in his best is like Chris Johnson, right? Chris Johnson was just that guy that was just lightning fast. But I just wanted to touch on also DK Metcalf as far as in that conversation of fast in the NFL. Who's the fastest in the NFL? I think that, you put him in the 100 meters, it might be DK. But and regarding the wide receiver conversation, I think that Malik Turner is a guy that makes the team because he's really good in special teams. He's very good at downfield coverage. He'll play all the special teams. He's very good at overall just a solid receiver. He was fourth on the depth chart in Dallas last year, and Dallas had 3 stars at receiver, and he was the fourth guy. So when I look at the wide receiver room, I really like it. I think Taysir Mack and Tay Martin at the very least make the practice squad. And Taysir Mack I think he averaged like 16 or 17 yards a catch last year. He was Kenny Pickett's big play guy in Pittsburgh. So he had a lot of big plays. Those 2 guys, I think, are strong young talents. But, man, one thing that people have stopped talking about is Debo, and he does not have a contract yet. And everybody thinks he's going to get it, and we're assuming that he's going to, and I hope he does. But the fact is he does not have that contract right now, and that's disappointing. And, of course, a lot of different things have taken the focus off of that. But why he doesn't have a contract is beyond me. And the fact he doesn't have a contract is a little bit concerning. I know the Niners go late. But the fact that, this is blown up in, him demanding a trade and whatnot, and then him not working out, as we discussed last week, he went, but he didn't work out. He was off on the side. So hopefully they get that done, because if that doesn't get done, that who knows what happens with that. So it's interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what happens if that doesn't get done. It's very simple. Juwan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk are 1 and 2. This is literally that simple. And I'll tell you right now, Debo will have a contract before training camp starts. The 49ers, for some ungodly reason, seem to think that it's okay to wait forever and a day to pay a player. Debo came out and they heard him saying, I'm here. but I still playing week 1 without a new deal. So you're going to have to make sure that you pay that young man and pay him what he's worth. Luckily, the numbers haven't gone up and skyrocketed to a point where, it's getting over, out of hand. But I think he winds up with a new deal, and I think he'll be perfectly fine for that. The other thing is with Debo, I look at it like this. He is going to show up for everything mandatory because he ain't getting fined. See, back in the day, the team could waive those fines. They could say, hey, man, we kind of get it. You don't want to wind up coming in and hurting yourself or all this. So, all right, man, don't worry about it, dog. We got you. Now you can't do that. The league has now said if you don't show up, you get fined. Debo ain't made that kind of money to be out there taking those fines and them hits in the pocket. And I can guarantee you, though he says he's not playing week 1 without a new deal, if a new deal is not worked out, he's going to play week 1. You know why? Because you lose tenure, which means you wind up stuck on the team. You know what I'm saying? Because you need to have I don't know how many games it is, but there's a certain amount of games you have to play to make sure that you wind up with your veteran status. The other thing is the loss you're going to take in the pocket. He has not made enough money to hold out like that. And I don't see any endorsement deals running around where he's making that bread.
Well,
it looks the chain looks real nice, but I guarantee you it cost you a pretty penny. So I just want to push back a little bit because I agree with you, and I think that that's the optimistic and sensical way of looking at this. But unfortunately, Debo could be sitting there saying, "I want guaranteed money, and I want to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL, and I'm not budging." And see, while you're right, he doesn't have the money now. He can afford to sit out a year and then get that huge money contract next year. I mean, what money has he made that allows him?
Is he going to pull a Le'Veon Bell? Because that would be bad on his part. It would devalue his contract at what he wants.
I wouldn't. I'm just trying to figure out where the bread's coming from because he has not made enough money to pull a whole season worth of sitting out.
His rookie deal is. I mean, he's not poor. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean,
he ain't rich either. I'm just saying, rich. When you look at, you know what. You keep going on your point. I'm gonna look his deal up because I'm telling you right now, that man ain't made enough money.
Well, and he's got Old Spice and Cherry Bundy. He's got a few little
commercials.
Yeah, but the thing is that
yeah, he's on Old Spice. You never seen that commercial where he has he has the sponsorship and the shirts with the Old Spice.
Yeah, he was doing stuff around the Super Bowl, wearing all that Old Spice stuff.
Oh, but see, that's a basic joint. I'm talking about
basic, not like Nikes or Jordans.
But the thing is,
Jimmy G was
he's anticipating like so much guaranteed money that here's the other part that I just think is important is that the longer this stretches out, it's toxic to a team. Yep. Like, it's toxic to the chemistry. It's toxic. If this holdout is prolonged, I mean, it could be bad. So, I'm really hopeful, bro, that you're right. And I tend to agree with you a lot. It's like, we just kind of assume it though, we
don't even know what's going to happen.
The season he had though, he deserves to get that money. Like, he's a top 5 player in football, like out of any position, he should be in somebody's top 5. He can go 1 through 5. It's not really a wrong answer, and our receiving core is damn great, man. It's depth. PFF, I seen they ranked us number 6 in the NFL among receivers. That's pretty damn elite, because they know Brandon Ayuk, that 3rd year is coming, man. We saw Jerry Rice, 22 touchdowns his 3rd year. T.O. emerged as a star his 3rd year. Debo, 3rd year. We're like 30-year you out here in the receiver land, So I think IU's gonna be that next guy that really takes it over in his 3rd year. Danny Gray, his hamstring will be all right eventually. He got speed. He's gonna unlock this offense, man. Samuel, if you think he had room these previous seasons, he's gonna have even more room with him on the field. And Kittle, he's gonna love him, man. And like Ray McLeod, he's gonna be used kind of like Debo as a running back. Last year, I think he's gonna take over that role. Plus, he's an excellent returner. And I just love his quick twitchness, and we're gonna be freaking amazing at the receiver position. That's why Trey Lance, he's gonna really skyrocket with all that talent. Yeah.
Well, when you look at the receivers, like there's going to be one guy that nobody even talks about, and I feel like this year it's going to be like Juwan Jennings because here's why: they're going to focus on let's say we do get a deal done with Debo for sure, which I believe it will happen. But you got Ayuk and Debo, right? They're going to focus on him, right? And then that leaves more opportunities for Juwan Jennings because can you imagine if Juwan Jennings was our starter for the entire 17 games? I think he would have had maybe. Let's say he would have probably had 700 to 800 or 900 yards receiving, bro, and maybe 10 plus touchdowns. If you look at the projection stats of what he could have had.
Yeah, because I saw 83% of his catches was either a first down or a touchdown. He was balling, man, because he led I think the SEC in broken tackles or something like that, or all college football. He was like a mammoth guy. He did it in college in a tough conference. So and it's carried over, you know what I'm saying, to the pros. You know what I'm saying? We've needed him in big games. He got those tough yards. Real ish, man. So
he's a big
receiver that's currently in New England.
I mean, Kendrick Bourne was more he was just an energized guy. But when you look at the difference between Kendrick
KB was Mr. First Down and Mr. Touchdown.
But not the Yaks guy. But
from a statistical standpoint, it was either or. No, he wasn't a Yak guy. No, not by any stretch of the imagination.
But his blocking wasn't
when he was catching the ball. Oh no, that's just because Juwan is a bigger dude. You know what I mean? And I looked up Debo's contract. Today, right now, technically speaking, Debo has made just over $6 million. You think he wants to throw away all that money on fines? Because those fines only grow throughout the season for every single game. I get that you want to stand your ground and hold out for your money and do all that. But when you've only made $6 million, that's not enough. And you live and he lives in California, by the way.
The taxes are high too.
So when you live in California, let me tell you right now, bro, the taxes are horrendous. It is ugly. You can chalk up half of your salary to Uncle Sam automatically. So if Debo made 6, he only technically made 3. And then with the NFL, you technically, from a legal standpoint, pay taxes in every state you play in, everywhere you go. So
even Texas,
it's scary to watch him just take those hits in the pocket like that, and to think that that's going to be the case. I mean, I hope that his agent is walking him through what this is going to be like if he does decide to hold out. And I don't put it past him. But my thing is, if I'm Debo, you know what I do? I get on that field and I force your hand. I go out there, I say, you know what? And I tell him, you know what? If this isn't worked out before week 1, don't talk to me. I don't want to hear nothing. Because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go here, I'm going to ball out, and I'm going to run that price through the roof. So next year, you're really not going to be able to afford me because I'm going to cost you way too much money. That's what I would do if I was Debo.
And if I was Debo, I wouldn't step 1 foot on the field until I get a new contract.
Dude,
I ain't risking it. I'm not risking it. Hold out like that, then they get on the field and get injured. Look at Michael Thomas.
Yeah, but he don't care about that after he has his guaranteed money. He don't care about that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want that.
I don't either. But I'm just saying, I don't even think, hopefully I'm wrong. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, I did not expect Debo to demand a trade this offseason. I mean, who saw that coming? So it's just.
Okay, let me put it this way, man. Hey, shout out to my boy Remilio Sports Report, dude. No way in hell that Debo is coming to. He ain't going near the Rams. He doesn't like Aaron Donald, and I don't even think he'll ever want to play for that squad. Hey, shout out to the CEO of the BGN Sports Media, BirdGame31. What is up, my guy?
What up, BirdGame?
Oh man, let's debate about this. This guy's team is. I don't know how the GM does it, but they're manipulating the cap space. Come on. So they're going to try to afford everybody, man.
Les Snead is a genius. I give him that much. He's a genius. I don't know how you keep pulling this money out of your ass, but you do. Okay? You just paid Aaron Donald a bunch of money that you didn't have. And now randomly you turn around and pay Cooper Kupp a bunch of money that you don't have. Where is this coming
and Stafford.
From?
Well, why not?
And
Why not?
Ramsey.
Like, since like Andrew Whitworth retired.
Wait, Stafford got another deal too?
I think he got an extension or they reworked his deal. So it was Stafford,
Contract
Donald,
extension.
and Cup all got big deals this offseason after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they
I
just
don't know
recently
where all
gave
this-
Donald a bigger contract too, and then they just worked out Cooper Cup's extension to a
I
couple
just want to
years.
know where the money's coming from. That's my real question. I wanna
Laundry
know.
money.
Somebody
That's
just
the
tell me
word.
where this
Laundry
comes
money.
from.
Crypto.
Because last year, like they had Andrew Whitworth, and now he retired, so that was kind of his money they were paying. And then they also didn't bring back Von Miller because he had a big deal. Haven't really brought back Odell, so they got a little bit of money from the players they had last year that they're not paying now.
Well, Odell's an idiot.
The craziest part I heard was
that
the actual Aaron Donald deal supposedly freed up $2 million in their cap somehow. Like, how's that possible?
Yeah, how they
Dude, they
structure
just
the
they
money.
manipulate
how they
shit.
structure the money. Yeah.
Is it just
they learn how to whoever's doing those contracts? Parag need to go hang with Les Snead and them and figure it out. Stop being so damn cheap. That's the problem.
Yeah, the cheap ass Dollar Tree does not work. Dollar General doesn't work, man. Let's go big, man. Screw
Gucci
this
store.
Gucci stuff, yeah. But man, shout out to Ms. Bergman. Thank you for the. But man, I don't know. Like the Rams, for whatever reason, they just manipulate cap space. I'm guessing that a lot of the teams, like themselves, like their own players, I think they take significant pay cuts. Maybe that's why the salary cap is what it is, because they all take it as a team to take pay cuts. And we got some players like on our team that doesn't even do it as much, like, do you think that Jimmy Garoppolo would be a team player? Nope. He didn't even take a damn pay cut. He's selfish.
Well, he ain't even got enough balls to walk up to the podium and at least admit when he done screwed up. All he does is stumble around and then be upset.
Be honest, if he did that, he'd probably still be at the podium now.
That's 100% true. Those are all facts. Because Trey Lance, when he lost that Arizona game, came up there and talked about himself and what he could have done better. While we all know that 10 goes up there and he's like, well, it's a team effort, and Jimmy.
The ugliest one was when he threw Shanahan right under the bus. What was it?
Talking about how he just goes out there and runs the
yeah, it does exactly what he says.
He's a yes man. Yeah, Jimmy. Like, dude, he's a better Subway commercial guy now. Like, can we get him out already? Please.
He ain't even great at that. And the sad part is, bro, you looked at your Nona and she don't even cook. She's Italian. Most Italian women that are full-blooded Italian get down in the kitchen, and the food is simply amazing. But you didn't know your Nona didn't cook, bro? That's a little weird now, Jimmy. But it's okay.
And
all I want him to do is come in, take your physical, and go right back out the door. I don't want you here at training camp. I don't want you around the team. I don't want you in the building. I don't even want you in California. Go back to Illinois.
Porn star, Jimmy.
Or go to New England. Who cares? Get them all out there.
I just go anywhere but here. I just don't want you nowhere near the team.
Porn star Jimmy. We got Curry saying it, man. He likes that guy. No, I'm just
saying porn star Jimmy. Hey, the one thing about the Rams though, they paid all these guys, but they're top heavy. They don't got no depth. They're one big injury away from like a Ramsey or a Donald or a Cup from really having a top 7 pick that they don't even got in the first round. So you gotta look at it like that. Like the Niners, we got a lot of depth though. It's like a lot of, and I'm proud of that.
He just said right now, look at the Remilia Sports Report. He just said by paying Cup, Donald, and Stafford, they freed up $13 million. The Rams have $7.5 million on cap for OBJ or midseason acquisition for 1 year to get them over the hump. Now, this is one thing that I will say, and I question this because a lot of people don't.
He would know more, so he would get it done. Yeah.
Sean McVay, technically right now, is a better coach than Kyle Shanahan.
Financially, he just gets better talent.
He wins and he's consistent. I can tell you this: Sean McVay never had a losing season.
He's in the Mike Tomlin discussion because neither of them had a losing season, and since Sean McVay's been a head coach,
people seem to bypass that, and everybody looks and they goes, "Oh well, look at the injuries, this and the injuries that." Injuries happen every year. Every team.
Yeah,
There's
Rams
not a
fan.
team that goes the full year without an injured player. And most of the time it's a star. But I can tell you this, you got to look at Sean and go, he's got a ring. Kyle doesn't have one. He had 2 shots and blew them both. One
Because he
was
didn't
with
even
the
use
Falcons
Debo
as the
Samuel in the
offensive-
fourth.
Well, I don't. Can any of y'all explain to me why Debo wasn't in? Like why was he not in the NFC Championship game? Just not but a couple months ago.
One touch in the fourth quarter? That's ridiculous, man. That
I
don't make
don't.
no sense.
What does anybody know what happened? Did he pull a hamstring? Did he strain a big toe? Like what?
Or was Kyle being
Makes
too
zero
cute?
sense. Use your best players.
That's been Kyle's Achilles heels, man. That's been his problem, is he doesn't finish out games.
Yeah, exactly,
I
man.
think he doesn't have what I like to call the killer instinct. There are very few people in sports that have it, and he doesn't have it. Bill Belichick got it. I know that. Bill Belichick don't care. He could be up by 55 points. He'll put in his backups and tell his backups to go hard and score another 60 if they can. You have it when you're playing for a Super Bowl. You have to go all out, and you got to give it everything you got, and you have to put your foot on the gas and not let up. The only time you let up is when you're up by like 4 touchdowns and there's a minute left. You know why? Because there's no way nobody's scoring 4 touchdowns in a minute. It's just not going to happen. So when he got comfortable in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, which nobody should ever do, what happened? He just sat there, and you watched your lead just dissipate slowly because you got comfortable. When you wound up with that huge lead over the New England Patriots, what happened? Halftime. Bill Belichick made adjustments. You weren't ready for it.
Well, and I think a lot of people assume that the Niners are going to have a great year. And I think on paper and on the schedule, there's no reason why the Niners should not have a successful season. But the one thing I look at is Kyle has not had 2 consecutive, like, highly successful years. And after 2019, we had the DeForest Buckner drama. And then we go into 2020, and the team's talking about how it's a revenge tour. They're thinking about the past. They're thinking about last year. And that year was a struggle with injuries, etc. And then, so this last year, it was not like it was the most successful year starting 3-5. You know what I mean? They came on strong. They finished strong and went to the NFC Championship game, but that was a struggle to get there. So I think that, hopefully they get Debo signed because I don't want any drama going into training camp, man, or it could be a tough year.
That's the problem. Like, see, now we're going to question it. Like, you figure, like, when has Kyle Shanahan ever had a consecutive winning season? Under his tenure, he has not once. And we want to make excuses about the injuries. I get it. We have to play with all the depth pieces and all what we got. But, man, when can we finally become consistent? When can we start winning consecutively for decades? I'm hoping Trey Lance could elevate this team, which I believe he will.
Right.
And maybe this will end the naysayers, because everybody keeps questioning Kyle Shanahan's as a head coach. I mean, he's barely below 500. So it's kind of like, man, we keep this guy around. He's only had 2 playoff experience and has been to the Super Bowl once and the NFC Championship twice. But out of his resume, what has he done since? It's like, that's all we can look at.
And I just want to say I'm a Kyle fan. You know what I mean? I'm a Kyle fan, personally, but I just recognize also the inconsistency.
Can I ask anybody else if they're worried that Debo's going to get paid and he's still not going to be happy, like Beckham was for the Giants? Because that's my big concern.
No, I don't think he has that kind of personality. I think he's going to be happy, man. He got a lot of good group of guys here with him. They came up with the Kittles, the Warners, man. Then, Ayuk, he got to set a good example for Ayuk, man, because he's going to be the next up after that. Not to mention Jennings, the guy who came into his draft class with him, So, I mean, and plus, like, guys like Trent Williams, excellent vet. Bosa's his boy. Jimmy Ward. He got a lot of good vets on his team that'll keep him in line. He's not going to be like a distraction. I don't think so.
I mean, you got a lot of veterans.
Yeah, Bosa will be kind of chill on his. He'll let his agent do it. And plus, the other thing with with Ayuk is we have a 5th-year option on him because he's technically a first-round pick.
Yep.
And on top of that, that means he garners a little more money than possibly even Debo would ask for. But
I think Melissa makes a great point. I think she makes a great point, and I think we all want to overlook it because we love Debo. I don't think anybody doesn't love Debo, but I did not see Debo deleting the Niners off his social media, demanding a trade. I did not see all this from Debo, and so it's a big surprise to me, kind of how he's acted in the offseason. And I don't hold it against him. I still love Debo, but
it feels
possible
hinky because the way he loved the wide back thing, he brought it to every interview.
Yeah.
He owned it. He was selling it. He was saying he was a new breed. He was all in love with this image and being this great big ball carrier. And then it felt like out of nowhere, he's unhappy. He's doing the finger motion at the club. He's doing all this stuff, and I know the new thing now is take down all the team logo stuff and everything else. It's a strategy now, but there's just something very hinky about it. And when none of us are saying that we don't like Debo or we don't want him here, it's just there's just something a little hinky there.
Yep. Not everybody responds that way. DK Metcalf wants a new contract, and he's not doing that.
McLaurin and AJ Brown, none of them did it.
Right.
Even Hollywood Brown.
It's a little.
All right, guys. I guess Niner game's got to go, but we're gonna end it on a high note. If you guys want to, or you guys want to keep it going?
Oh shit, okay. I'm down to end it. I'm good. It's all good.
Yeah, good show, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
We'll be out.
Yeah, hit me up if you want me to do offensive line talk, man. I'll be on your show.
Yes, sir. Breakdown. Are you good to do a show about the linebackers?
Yeah, brother. Whenever you want. Hit me
up.
All right. I got my email.
I'll get you guys and set up something.
Hey, get me on with the wide receivers. I'll talk wide receivers.
I was
get them in.
Slow your roll out. I was getting there. We go there. I got you. Hey, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Be easy.
You too, brother.
All right. So everybody, we'll see you. We'll see you next week, or we can keep it going. All good. We all good in the hood.
Good.
Yep.
All right. So we'll call it a day, and next week we'll get something interesting, but it's gonna be popping.
Okay.
All right. See y'all later.
All good, man.
All good in the hood.